All right. Who am I speaking with?
I'm Liam Maricchio.
And how old are you?
I'm 17 years old.
17 years old. And what's your date of birth?
June 6th, 2006.
All right. So that's Generation Z, right?
Yep,
All right.
yep,
I want to get a few basic questions first of adolescence, and I kind of want to start narrowing more and more into different topics such as technology, schoolwork, friendship. But we're going to start with three basic ones and kind of just work our way down.
sure.
So, by the way, for my teacher, this is my brother, Liam Maricchio, and I'll also be doing my dad and my grandpa. So, can you describe your family environment during your teenage years?
I'd say I had a pretty good family environment during my teenage years. At a younger age, our parents did split up. So, I kind of have two separate family environments. But I'd say both of them are really healthy. Lots of encouragement from my parents and spent a lot of time with you as my brother. And yeah, good environment at both households.
Okay. How did your family influence your identity and values as an adolescent?
I honestly think who I am today as a whole has had my family has had great influence on that. My parents have encouraged me to do most of the activities I do today. My dad taught me about mountain biking, which is kind of my identity right now, and skiing, and they enrolled me in the youth soccer program, which has become a huge part of my identity as I still play soccer today. And you, as my brother, we did a lot of stuff together and activities, and we ski together all the time. And I'd say a lot of my personality and morals as a whole come from you as my role model. So I'd say a great deal of my personality and identity has come from my family.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay, let's move over to the friendships aspect of your adolescence. What were your friendships like during? I mean, you're still a teenager. You're 17. So during your teenage years, kind of give me some info on that.
My friendships are a huge part of my life. Definitely, I like spending time with my friends a lot. I'd say I spend most of my days with my best friend Preston. So my friend group's quite narrow. I'd say I have three really close friends who I spend most of my time with, and we all have good relationships. We don't fight. We actually kind of planned our future together, so we want to live together in the future. That's how good our friendships are right now, but we're all really kind to each other, and we do most of our activities together. We all play soccer together after school, and we spend a lot of the weekends together, have a lot of sleepovers. So I have really, really close and deep friendships with my friends as a teenager right now.
Okay. Um, what about any sort of like peer pressure? How did you navigate through that? Do you see it a lot at your age, or how does that work?
So I know other students in my high school kind of deal with that a lot, but with my group of friends, I haven't really been peer pressured, but I'd say if I were to have to deal with that or navigate with that, I'd try to exit that group of friends. But with my friends, I don't really see that happening. We try to avoid that type of stuff.
Okay. um, and then let's see. Were there any sort of memorable experiences or challenges you faced with your friends?
Yeah, I'd say the one issue I can really think of that the friend group kind of had were um arguments over girlfriends and stuff, and one friend talking to a girl that was one of our ex-girlfriends. So I'd say that was really the only issue we had as a whole group, and the only other issue maybe is like gas money.
Yeah.
People, one of the friends driving the most 'cause they're the oldest, and then
Right.
no one the gas money. But I'd say those were really the only two issues. Other than that, everything's been smooth sailing.
Okay. Let's move over to schoolwork now, or just school in general. So what is school like? Like, what's your experience in school, as being an adolescent?
So kind of going back to the family influence, I'd say my parents have had a huge influence on my drive to do well in school. I'd say I definitely try to succeed. Also, you as a role model, I've seen you do well at the college level, and that's kind of influenced me as well. Um, I think our school provides a good challenge for me, and I definitely take that challenge and go at it as hard as I can and do my best every day. And the school environment, not only educationally but socially, it's good. We're a smaller school, come from a small region, so I know everyone quite well, and it's been a good experience as a whole, and lots of opportunities in school as well. I've just recently joined the math team, and that's been good. I'm getting extra
Right.
credit in my math class, so
That's good.
lots of good.
I was gonna go up to that next. Any sort of like sports, extracurricular activities? Just what are those like right now for you, or how were they during your adolescence?
So right now, all I'm in for school is the math team. But outside of school, I'm on a club soccer team. This year, I was on the school soccer team, but that's a fall sport.
Mhm.
And I used to do track, but it was getting too much with soccer, so I ended up quitting the track team. But yeah, really just math team right now. I'm in a couple honor societies as well: the National Honor Society, the Math Honor Society, the Spanish Honor Society, and the Science Honor Society. So those kind of help me extracurricularly to get some more hours in.
Okay. Um, and then were there any certain teachers who had an impact on you? If so, what did they do or why?
Yeah, so it was actually a teacher I know you had as well, Mrs. Manning. She's my
Yeah.
English teacher, and I mean, she just showed me what it's like to have an adult role model who cares and wants you to succeed. I'm taking her advanced placement literature course right now, and everything we do in class is strictly dedicated to helping us get a good grade on that test. And she provides a lot of help outside of school. And she's really dedicated to helping us do well on this test. All the essays we write, they're graded by the next class. So she can go through the next class and tell us what we did right, what we did wrong. And today, for example, she gave us a sheet that told us all the stuff that the graders are going to be looking for on the AP test. So we do well. And she not only is helpful in the classroom, but she's always attending all the sports events. She's great outside of school with, school spirit and yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, shout out to Miss Manning. She even comes up to Western New England football games for some of the kids, which were like an hour away for the football games because a few of the kids played on our school high school football team. She loves supporting us. So the last thing I'm gonna ask you about with this is the technology aspect. So I'm gonna only ask you one question about it. Just really explain um kind of how technology is nowadays. Like what have you grown up with it? What do you do with it in school? Just friendships, even communicating to mom and dad, just everything about technology. What do you think about it?
Sure. So growing up with technology wise, I did excuse me. I didn't really grow up with a phone. As I got older, I got a phone in the start of middle school,
Started
but
middle school. Okay.
yeah, grew up with we had a DS, we had a Wii, a lot of just Nintendo stuff, and then a Leapster I remember I had.
Can't forget the
Grew up,
Kindle.
yeah, a Kindle, yep.
Yep.
Grew up, mostly technology was just for playing games, but as we aged, I definitely say technology turned into more of a communication resource and entertainment as well, not only playing games but entertainment like Instagram. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time on TikTok, which I was on TikTok a lot and I recently deleted it because it's a
Yeah.
very addictive platform.
Yeah.
um but yeah, not only is it used for entertainment and communication, but it's also used a lot in school. We used to do all our work on paper, and then in middle school we got introduced to the Chromebook, and since then, all of my work has been on the Chromebook. The only class that I use paper in now is math. And I had a physics test on paper today, but for the most part, I'd say technology is used for all of my schoolwork. So it's a very important resource educationally, and yeah, communication. We're right now we're doing this thing called Senior Assassin, and that whole thing is run digitally.
Yeah.
So
All right.
it's used, yeah,
That's
everywhere in my
cool.
life.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you, Liam, for doing this interview. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. Who am I speaking to?
This is Steve Maricchio.
Okay. And you are my dad.
Yes,
What
I am.
year? What year were you born in?
1968.
1968, which we just made sure it's Generation X. So I'm gonna ask you about three different topics with a little bit of an overview: technology, schoolwork, and friendship related to adolescence.
Hmm.
So first, I want to ask you just kind of about earlier life. Can you describe your family environment during your teenage years?
Environment,
Yeah,
it
just
was
kind of how it
good.
was.
Um, it was good. My sister was 5 years older than me, so she already was ahead of me, like graduated high school, all that stuff. I had serious boyfriend. I My dad retired while I was in high school, so he was done with work. Um, got an early retirement from a company he was at like 40 years or whatever his entire career, and I was busy running out and working and doing my sports.
Okay.
So from describe it, I wasn't home other than doing my homework too much. Like I was busy, right? Busy
Yep.
with my sports, busy with my friends, busy with work, and trying to graduate. And then I had a girlfriend at the end of high school last 2 years, serious girlfriend. So
Okay. And so okay, I'll start with the peer relationships, the friendships aspect of it. What were your friendships like during being a teenager, your adolescence?
yeah, I had a real well. They always say surround yourself with people that are good friends, right? Like I always taught you,
Yep.
and keep the bar high. So first year in high school was a little mixed, and I made sure I gravitated towards the kids that all had goals, like keep the bar high, smarter people than myself, even, that. So that was sort of how I built my friends. I had a tight knit group of friends. We would all meet up at school in the morning and do our homework or whatever homework we didn't finish or couldn't get done, collaborate before school started in the cafeteria. So that's what we did.
Okay.
But good group of friends, either related to my sport or in my classes, and you know,
Okay. How was like peer pressure back in your day? Because I asked Liam the same thing, and I want to see what it was like, the differences.
not bad. Nobody peer pressured me. I had a
Hmm.
good group of friends.
They're all just
So
okay.
I didn't do anything I didn't want to do, and it was easy to just say, not my gig or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move from friendships kind of over to school and schoolwork. Um, so what was your experience like at school, just as being a teenager?
Again, like I said, the first year I realized because they did it by like I don't know. I ended up getting in classes with um, you know kids that didn't want to work as hard, this and that. And then I had one of my science teachers noticed the what's the word for it? The potential. That's the word
Yep.
for it. He noticed the potential and he bumped me way up high. And then I had obviously a challenge. So that was what I was challenged
Yep.
the next 3 years,
What
right?
about any sort of like sports or any activities like that?
Yeah, cross country, ski club. Had like an adventure club I was in, like that we did some camping and stuff and hiking.
Okay. All right, cool. And were there any sort of teachers that like really impacted you or had a significant impact in any way?
In high school only, or is this
It
high
could
school?
be, yeah, just during your adolescence, teenage years. So
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, thir- I would have been a teenager before,
then, yeah,
so
that
I
works.
had one teacher that had a huge impact on me. Was actually in my middle school the last year, Miss Jacobellis. So Miss Jacobellis happened to be Lindsay Jacobellis's mom, who is an Olympic
Wow.
snowboarder, medalist.
Hmm.
And she was, we had some teachers that that a couple that made life very difficult in the learning process no fun,
Right.
right? Like, so she helped us with the classes we were having difficulty with, and she taught us to make the learning process fun. We had her for like for a few class or a couple classes, but one of them we actually had her for the reading class that you had to do reading. Like it was like a class that you had to bring your books and read, right? That was
Right.
like whatever. And then she would help us study on the stuff that we had trouble with, this and that. And one of the things she always said was follow your brightest star.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she was a very motivational teacher, one of the biggest impacts of my life.
Okay. And then the last thing, so we went through schoolwork, we went through some friendships, technology. Just the one question I have about technology, kind of just take me through how you've seen technology kind of change and what it was like when you were a teenager versus like what it is now, what we experience on the daily.
Yeah, like I mean, you couldn't forget your books.
No.
You could go into the library, like you were only as good as your encyclopedias that you had at home
Yeah.
and how dated they were and how good they were at the library, the information in those encyclopedias or what books were available. So that's the biggest. I'd say one of the biggest impacts is like even now, right? It's like you have a library at your hands wherever you are, and it's not just a library. The most information, like
Awesome.
Google searches. So to
Yeah.
me, that's the most impactful. I can learn something about something in minutes that I have no clue on, and walk away sort of knowledgeable, even more. Like you could go to a doctor and the doctor's talking, and I'm like, he doesn't know everything about what I already know about it, like
Mhm.
the way he's telling me,
Right.
right? Like the list of things. Like I had some blood work, right? And like the list, I read into the numbers and what they mean, and there's a lot more to it than the one of the doctors gave to me.
Right.
So that's yeah, stuff like that. It's
Okay.
it's huge impact.
All right. Well, that's all my questions. So thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Yep. Cool.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. What is your name?
Paul F. Riley Jr.
Awesome. Okay. And you're my grandpa. What is your
I sh-
age?
I sure am.
Sure I am. All right. And what's your age?
My age right now is 76.
76. And what generation would that be?
Uh, what do you mean generation in the 40s? You mean
Yeah, so that what year would it be that you were born in?
1947?
Okay. And what would it be for you're a what, baby boomer?
Yep.
Okay. And so let's start with some of these questions. I'm gonna first talk about kind of the early life for you as an adolescent. So first
Okay.
question would be, can you describe your family environment during like your teenage years?
During my teenage years or
Yep.
when I was young?
Yep. Just you could be your teenage years.
All right. Okay. When I was 14, we moved from Columbus, New Jersey to Trenton, New Jersey, which actually was a suburb of Trenton, New Jersey. It was Hamilton, New Jersey. And I went to Trenton Catholic High School my freshman year of high school. And then my sophomore through senior year, I went to Notre Dame High School because Trenton Catholic had closed.
Okay. Um, and then how did your family influence your identity? Like what did they do? Did it change any of your values or identity as an adolescent?
Well, they were terrific parents, and they instilled in me a lot of really, really, really good things and good morals, and
Hmm.
that kind of a thing.
Okay. We're gonna shift more towards like peer relationships, so the friendship aspect. So
Mhm.
what were friendships like during your teenage years or adolescence?
Well, I had a lot of friends during those years. Not all of them were from that high school. I used to. I played in a band, an American Legion band, uh, back in those days, my adolescent days, and I made a lot of friends through that, and that started me on my road to really to music.
Okay. Um,
And
and oh,
my friends were most of those people that were in that band.
okay. So into music. Um,
Mm.
how was back then? How was peer pressure? Like, did you ever see peer pressure or social expectations?
Uh, and you know what? There definitely was that, but I didn't see too much of that.
You didn't see too much of that. Okay.
No.
I'm gonna shift more towards schoolwork and just kind of your school experience as a whole. Um, so what was your experience like, just in school during being a teenager, adolescent?
Uh, hmm, what was it like?
Yeah.
It was a it was okay. You
Hmm.
know, it was altogether different. There wasn't any diversification or anything like that back then. It was you know, almost all white kids, and well, there was one black kid in the whole school.
Hmm.
Uh, and you know, I didn't know too much about any other nationality or anything like that,
Right.
e- except for the kids that I had come in contact with. And in my freshman year, when I was in Trenton Catholic High School was in an all Italian neighborhood in Trenton. So, most of the time I hung out with Italian kids.
Okay. Um,
Is that what you want, Riley?
yeah,
Is
that was good.
you're
Yep,
okay?
that was good. And then what about extracurricular activities or sports? It sounds like you're into music, so that could be a good example you could use. Or even
Ye-
sports. What did you do for the school with those?
Well, I played baseball
Hmm.
for a few years, but not in high school. That was all my grammar school years,
Okay.
and I loved that.
Hmm.
And another sport was in my adolescence. I loved water skiing,
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
actually had a boat. My father would go out with me, and he'd drive the boat, and I would ski.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Were there any teachers that you can remember that were super like significant to you?
Yes.
Who
Uh,
and why?
one was one was a nun that I had that was she was a history teacher, and she was tough. She was tough on people. She wanted them to learn, and she wanted their attention. And she was actually from the she was from the Bronx in New York, and we got along really great because we would talk about that. Because I used to go to New York quite a bit to see bands
Hmm.
in jazz clubs in New York, and she was just, as long as you paid attention, she was one of the best teachers I ever had, and she influenced me in a lot of ways. One of my loves really is history now, and
Yeah.
she influenced that a lot back in those days.
Okay.
And then I had another nun
Hmm.
that was a music teacher, and she was another one that influenced me an awful lot.
Okay.
And to listen to and develop a liking for all kinds of music. I like all kinds of music.
Okay. The last question I'm going to ask you, it's pretty open ended, just kind of how you interpret it, would
Uh,
be how was technology as an adolescent back then to what it is kind of now? Like, so how has it changed? I'm sure there's been a few changes to it since, right?
oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, my dad and mom, they got my, well, it's been about uh uh, 20 years now, I guess, since my dad passed away. And, he really never even knew what the internet was or anything like that. And the technology is absolutely unbelievable as far as medicine and just things like audio and video and of course the internet. That's like
Yeah.
such an
This right here is
unbelievable
crazy.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And computers and all that.
Mhm.
It all changed just a few years ago, and it continues to change just about daily.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate
Oh, one
the
more thing. I sit and I watch my my grandson riding a simulator,
right here. We got the wheel.
watching it, and watching him win races on YouTube. I mean,
It's crazy.
just a few years ago, that didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I play games with my grandson. We
Yeah.
used to play a lot more before he went to college, but
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
you're welcome, Riley.
All right.